Before supercuts and TikTok hair tutorials, there was Mom, a mixing bowl and kitchen scissors. And the night before my senior party, my mother gave me the worst haircut of my life. I was 18 years old when my mom decided she could still cut hair. Money was tight before college. Textbooks, dorm supplies, tuition deposits, every dollar mattered. And in our house, Mom had always handled things herself when money got stressful, including haircuts. She'd watched stylists for years. She owned scissors. In her mind, that basically made her qualified, famous last words. It started on a Saturday morning. I was in my bedroom packing for college, trying to decide what to wear to a party that night when my mom walked in holding three things: a metal mixing bowl, a pair of kitchen shears, and a towel. The second I saw the bowl, my stomach dropped. "Time for a trim before college," she said cheerfully. "At 18, you think you're old enough to refuse. But when your parents are paying for your textbooks, your confidence suddenly becomes very negotiable." She sat me on a metal kitchen chair in the middle of the linoleum floor. The towel around my shoulders wasn't even a salon cape, just a thin white bath towel that kept sliding sideways. I could feel the cold metal chair through it. Then she placed the bowl upside down directly on top of my head, right on my crown. The bowl was freezing cold against my scalp, and not some fancy salon tool either. It was our actual mixing bowl, the meatloaf bowl, the cake batter bowl, the bowl from every birthday party and every stressful family dinner of my childhood. Now it was apparently licensed cosmetology equipment. She pressed it down firmly. The metal rim dug into my scalp. "Hold still," she said. I held still because somehow my life had led me to this exact moment. Then came the scissors, kitchen scissors, the same scissors she'd used an hour earlier to open a package of frozen chicken. I heard them open and close near my ear. Snip, snip, snip. Chunks of dark brown hair slid down the towel onto my lap. Some fell onto the floor, some stuck to my neck. I couldn't see anything yet, only the sound, the pressure of the bowl, and the terrifying confidence of someone who absolutely should not have been freelancing as a hairstylist. My mom always stuck her tongue out when she concentrated. She'd done it my whole life: homework help, sewing, Christmas wrapping, coupon clipping. And now apparently emergency hair surgery. I watched her reflection in the microwave glass, tongue out, eyes squinting, kitchen scissors moving fast around my head, and somehow that made the whole thing even scarier. "Almost done," she kept saying. Every time she said it, more hair fell. The back was where things truly collapsed. She couldn't really see what she was doing back there, so she just kept cutting, and hopping geometry would save her. I felt the back of my neck getting colder, then suddenly bare. That was the exact moment I knew this haircut had crossed into criminal territory. Finally, she lifted the bowl. Hair clung to the inside of the metal. Dark brown strands stuck around the rim like evidence from a crime scene. She stepped backward to admire her work. Then her face changed. "Oh," she said, just one word. "Oh," and somehow that single syllable told me everything before I had even seen the haircut. She handed me a small hand mirror and turned me toward the bathroom mirror on the back of the door. I genuinely did not recognize myself. My hair was perfectly round, not layered, not blended, not styled, round, like somebody had placed a salad bowl over my head and removed everything outside the circle. My bangs sat an inch above my eyebrows. My ears stuck straight out. The back looked like several different people had cut it during separate emergencies. I looked like a mushroom that had student loans, and I had a party to attend in 4 hours. My mom immediately went into damage control mode. "It'll grow back before college." Parents always say things like that. It isn't even noticeable. Nobody will care. At 18, you know those are lies. People can identify a bad haircut from across a parking lot. That night, I still went to the party. But I wore a baseball cap pulled down so low I could barely see. People kept asking why I wouldn't take it off. I made excuses. "I'm cold. It's a new style. I just like hats now." My best friend eventually dragged me into the bathroom and demanded to know what was happening. I slowly removed the hat. She stared at me for a full 3 seconds. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Your mom did this," I nodded. And then she laughed so hard she had to lean against the sink. 5 straight minutes, tears running down her face, and honestly, that somehow made me feel better, because at least somebody was enjoying this experience. For the next 3 months, I tried hiding it with ponytails. Except you cannot really put a bowl cut into a ponytail. The top layers were too short. The sides stuck out horizontally like airplane wings. I looked like a pineapple going through a personal crisis. But at least my ears were covered, mostly. The grow-out phase was somehow worse than the original haircut. First, it looked like a mushroom. Then it turned into a mullet. The back grew faster than the top, so for one horrifying month I accidentally had business in the front and a party I absolutely did not authorize in the back. Right before college move-in day, I finally went to a real salon for emergency intervention. The stylist took one look at me in the mirror and froze. Then she asked, "So, who cut this?" I quietly pointed at my mother sitting in the waiting area. The stylist looked over at her, then back at me, then nodded slowly like a trauma counselor. She said absolutely nothing else and just started cutting. Looking back now, I understand something I couldn't understand at 18. My mom wasn't trying to embarrass me. She wasn't trying to ruin my senior year. She was trying to save money before I left home, trying to help the only way she knew how. That bowl cut was love. Just really, really uneven love. The stylist eventually transformed the disaster into a very short pixie cut. It wasn't what I wanted, but at least it looked intentional. I started college 2 weeks later with hair shorter than any girl I'd ever known. My roommate looked at me the first night and asked, "Did you shave your head for a cause or something?" I said, "No, my mom just had confidence in kitchen scissors." She laughed so hard she nearly fell off her bed. We became best friends after that. Decades later, I found that same mixing bowl in my mom's kitchen. It still had faint scissor scratches along the rim. I picked it up and asked if she remembered the haircut. She immediately started laughing. "I remember you crying," she said. "Did I really cry?" "Not in front of me," she said, "but I heard you in your room afterward." That hit me harder at 38 than it did at 18. Then she got quiet and said, "I'm sorry I cut your hair like that before college." And I said, "It's okay." Because honestly, it did grow back, and eventually it became one of my favorite stories. That bowl cut taught me something important. Not every disaster lasts forever. Sometimes the thing that humiliates you at 18 becomes the story you laugh about 20 years later. And sometimes love looks like a terrible haircut done with completely unjustified confidence. So tell me, what was the worst haircut you've ever survived? And if your parents ever tried cutting your hair themselves, I definitely want to hear that story.